Have you ever still been up at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday and thought to yourself, what if I just watch one more dank meme compilation? It might have a part that's just a little bit funnier than the last one, only to soon find yourself struggling to wake up in the morning. If this has happened, and especially if it's a normal occurrence for you or a significant other, then someone might be suffering from a meme addiction. Unlike psychoactive substances, memes are rarely noted for their addictive properties. People who use them consider them to be a cultural activity, while people who have not been heavily exposed usually regard them as a confusing trend or mysterious phenomena. However, much like the wily crack rock, a meme thrives by giving its user a burst of stimulation that leaves them coming back for more. Also, just like with narcotics, memes will desensitize users to normal levels of stimulation, often leaving them feeling bored, lost, or unsatisfied without an increased dose. One of the clearest examples of the need for extreme stimulation is the growing popularity of deep-fried memes, as well as the ear rape phenomenon. Yes, you heard me right, ear rape. If you haven't heard of it, the format developed in the mid-phase of meme evolution, when compilation makers taking content from the platform Vine would put together multi-shot compositions for YouTube. In the occasional compilation, they would slip in the occasional video clip with a sudden blast of over-amplified, distorted noise that would painfully shock the viewer, hence the name. What started as a twisted joke, though, eventually grew into something much darker. Ear rape audio editing was eventually applied to popular songs to add shock value to their use in a meme. Many viewers were not simply surprised, but actually grew to like the distorted, over-amplified, bass-boosted, and noisy transformation to the songs. Craving more stimulation, even if it hurt, viewers began to seek out and listen to full versions of songs that had been thusly modified. This is now its own music genre. Before we get into the effects of and what we can do about this phenomena, let's start with how it all happened, with a quick chronology of the key phases in meme history. In the beginning, when the generation we call internet natives, that's people who grew up regarding the internet as a normal part of life, were still young, internet comedy existed in a variety of forms. But the first that I would comfortably call memes were rage comics and early picture-based memes. Rage comics were an open-source, 4-panel comic format. There were a variety of faces that were recycled throughout. For example, the troll face, the derp face, and the forever alone face, etc. Someone who wanted to make their own rage comic just had to download the faces, compile them together, and add a storyline. The other early format was the picture meme. These were those caption pictures you used to see where the same picture would be recycled with different captions. Some examples include the good guy Greg, scumbag Steve, and what if I told you Morpheus, as well as some that were cartoons rather than pictures, for example the Philosopher. In their next format, video memes were born with Vine, a video service that limited all posting to videos under around 6 seconds. Vine was hugely popular and for the most part did not actually have memes as we know them today. The platform had lots of comedy, but the format of recycling a video-based joke with a slight alteration was still in its infancy. The closest thing at the time to modern memes were things like bottle flipping and dabs. People would repeat a joke that was already popular with some of their own flair. The current format of meme culture was born with 9gag and most importantly YouTube. On both platforms, users can post content that was saved prior and do not need to video their clip in the app. To anyone who doesn't know, you needed to make a Vine in the app and could not post pre-recorded or edited video. With the adoption of YouTube and 9gag as popular comedy platforms, the current era was born. People discovered quite early on that they did not actually need to post original content to get views. Instead, they could slightly alter old content, edit it together into a compilation, and have something they themselves would then post. Today, a modern genre drawing in views by the million is the meme compilation. Given the competitive nature of the market, producers work to fill the most screen time with the least work. Popular jokes are therefore recycled the most. It's in this where we see the rise of memes like We Are Number One, Dewey, Crippling Depression, and more. Some of the most common methods in the contemporary culture is to maintain the same payoff to a joke, but change the setup. Other compilers go as far as to use one meme to set a joke up and another to pay it off. At some point in time not long ago though, producers realized that memes were no longer jokes. In the early days they were indeed jokes, but they incorporated a unique formula, a combination of familiar with novel. The old format employed a familiar picture, but had it telling a new joke. With the dawn of the video format, the joke became the familiar part, but it was the visual deliverer which would change, i.e. having a new person flip the bottle in a new place. Leading into the format of today, producers have realized that they do not actually need the joke at all, just a mix of something familiar with something novel. Sprinkle in some loud noises and flashing lights, and you have yourself a prime meme. It's not a joke, nor is it a story. It's stimulation in its purest form. While this modern format is the most devoid of any true quality or value, it's also the best at hijacking both social networks and their users' hearts and minds. Without including anything truly meaningful in the message, a modern meme does two things. It tells the viewer, hey, look at this new thing. The world is so new, unpredictable, exciting, and funny. As well as, don't worry though, it's still very familiar. You've been here before. Here's a reference to something you know, perhaps a childhood memory. We're all in this together, and I, the producer, have seen the same things as you. People have a few major psychological needs. Among the ones leveraged upon by memes are the need for a sense of belonging, as well as the need for new experience. The desire for novelty is one of the most apparent, and the need for belonging is less clear but can still easily be found in any comment section. One of the oldest jokes, so to speak, is whenever the song Sandstorm by Darude comes on, people will ask what the name of the song is. It's such a popular song though that I would bet most people born after 1985 know it, but yet thousands of people ask what its name is. Other times, when someone asks the name of a song which is not Sandstorm, people will jump in and answer that the name is indeed Sandstorm. The joke stopped being funny per se for almost everyone many years ago, but people tell it and like to hear it not because it's amusing, but because it's familiar and nostalgic, if you will. Herein lies the main danger with the contemporary form of meme though. It has the ability to hijack both our desires for novelty as well as familiarity without actually providing much content. In some cases, the piece of work will go as far as to provide no new content whatsoever, and instead simply combine two existing pieces of media together in a way that's new. Memes are to the comedy world as mashups are to the music scene, but yet they maintain the ability to climb to the top of our news feeds as well as recommended lists. Now, I'm as much of a comedy fan as the next person, and hope things that make people laugh keep coming along. To make sure this happens though, the whole system might actually need an update. Content creators are not paid for their like-dislike ratio, nor even how long people view or read their content. Rather, the incentive is to get as many clicks or views as possible. A few days ago, during the famous interview where Elon Musk smoked some pot with Joe Rogan, they talked about the dangers of artificial intelligence getting out of control. It's one of Elon's biggest fears. He thinks that no matter what we do, computation and the internet will become smarter and more powerful. There's nothing anymore that we can do about it. What we can do though is ensure that the architecture of future social networks serves the true will of the people. In a sense, they do today, but not in the best way they could. Something they discussed in the interview was the distinction between our brain's cortex and its limbic system. As Elon put it, the limbic system is the emotional part of the brain, the part that's left over from our animal ancestors. Meanwhile, the cortex is the part which is most human. It's the thinking part. He argues, and I agree, that the limbic system and the cortex are both good things. No one would want to be without them. You need emotions to enjoy the fruits of intelligence. Where we're getting into shaky territory now, though, is by making it easier and easier for the internet to reach directly into our limbic system, thus taking control away from the thinking part. Let me explain. Say we treat any website as a symbiotic organism. It gives something to people, and people keep it alive. Right now, the food, so to speak, that websites thrive on is viewership. Advertising and advertising research are the two main methods websites use to fund themselves. As a result, they compete simply to have people look at them. Where this fails is in that the decision to investigate something or look at it happens long before you've decided whether the content is worthy of being funded. In other words, sites aren't paid for things that we look at and appreciate, but instead things that simply catch and hold attention. Memes in their modern form are fast becoming one of the #1 symptoms. Them, along with most other forms of clickbait, all those ads that say things like how to reverse wrinkles in 10 easy steps, make their money not by being right, true, or relevant, but by drawing people in to take a look. You could click on the article, read it, and find the best advice to be a recommendation to use sunscreen, but it's already too late. They made their money as soon as you started reading. Taken to its logical conclusion, the most eye-catching, addictive, and most likely nutrition-free content will one day dominate the internet. That is, if it doesn't already. As long as the revenue and funding model for current advertising markets remain as they are, not only will they continue to evolve to be better at this, but things like artificial intelligence and deep neural networks will help accelerate the pace at which they become more efficient at this. There is a solution though, and it's that social networks basically just need to adopt a new revenue model. Namely one where users evaluate the quality of posts, videos, comments, etc., and producers are actually paid based on that evaluation, rather than the fact that people took the time to evaluate it in the first place. It will be tricky to execute correctly, and I doubt the mainstream networks will take the initiative and give up their sweet marketing money. That's why I'm getting the process started towards launching a new kind of social network. We are in the earliest phases though, and I'm still looking for collaborators, supporters, as well as critics. If you're interested, please send a message or take a quick look at the video. It's time for a new social network. In the meantime, thanks for watching.